So those new 21 Pilots songs, eh? They're alright, I guess.
East is up.
So, yeah, I may be a bit of a big fan of 21 Pilots. I've been a fan for them for about 2 years, so I'm not a long-time fan by any means, but I do really appreciate all of their older stuff, Vessel, in my opinion, being their best work. But holy shit, does this next album have the potential to be even better than Vessel? Why, you may ask? Well, it seems that 21 Pilots is actually trying to create their own little contained universe. But I want to propose an idea, an actual theory as to how far this timeline goes back. I think that this timeline not only goes back to Heavy Dirty Soul, but goes beyond that and even connects up to 2016's Heathens music video. Yeah, that weird music video that has all the Suicide Squad clips in it. Yeah, I'm not gonna forget about those, but still, I think it really does kind of connect that up, and I kind of want to talk about that today. But of course, there's like a lot to go into, so we might need a little bit of backstory here. So it's July 2017 and 21 Pilots has officially gone on hiatus after posting a series of really cryptic images of an eye closing. The only other time we actually see any of the band members is at the APMA Awards when Josh accepts an award.
Tyler wishes he could be here. He's actually off severing ties with Dima.
Wait, hold up, man. What the fuck is a Dima? Are you going to explain yourself? Okay, well, never mind, I guess. It's whatever. I guess it's some kind of weird inside joke. But holy shit, we had no idea this was going to be like one of the deepest and most cryptic inside jokes of all time. The band pretty much remained silent until April of 2018 when the 21 Pilots Vessel merch store page of all places decided to update their video with a link to a website called dmaorg.info. This website links to a 404 error with a message from a person called Clancy, and at this point we have no idea who Clancy is. We have no inkling of any sort of idea as to who this character is. There's also a hidden message with all the capital letters spelling out the phrase East is up. So now let's talk about the Dima site. From April till July, this website was updated very constantly with new cryptic images and messages from this Clancy character. One of the images included was a map of this place called Dima, which is a Tower of Silence ruled by 9 bishops. But by rotating this map following the rules from the previous message, East is up, the 9 bishops line up with the 9 circles from the cover of the Blurryface album. And each of these circles have patterns that correspond with different songs from that album. And each of these bishops' names are excerpts from each of the songs that they line up with. For example, Keon's comes from the lyric Choke on Smoke from Heavy Dirty Soul, and the name Sakaba comes from the lyric She's a Carver from Tear in My Heart. The only name that doesn't connect up to any of the lyrics is the name Nico, and this Bishop Nico lines up with the circle that represents Stressed Out, which is the first song to reference Blurryface by name. So by this logic, I'm going to assume that Blurryface is actually Nico. Blurryface only being the name that Tyler gave to Nico because of the way he appears. And of course, this site also includes lots of journal entries from this character known as Clancy, who is the founder of a rebellion that plans to escape Dima. Now, since Clancy actually seems to be the main character of this storyline, I'm going to jump on and say that Tyler is probably Clancy, and Clancy is some kind of alter ego, some kind of name, so they don't know who Clancy really is. Okay, but what actually is Dima? What does it represent? So from the images, the messages, and the map itself, Dima appears to be a city built by a cultish organization inside of a Tower of Silence. So basically what 21 Pilots has done is they've personified people's insecurities and anxieties and demons, demons, as an impenetrable fortress controlled by an evil organization that's trying to control those that reside inside. I think this idea is fucking genius because who doesn't want to take down an evil organization? We all do, but we can't take one down on our own. We have to work together. And I think that's the main idea of what this story and this album actually represents, us working together to fight against our demons. So with this whole theme of silence going around, I also kind of want to assume that everyone that resides inside of Dima is not allowed to speak about Dima. They have to make a vow of silence to not speak about it. And this relates to people dealing with insecurities and dealing with anxiety and dealing with depression. You feel like you can't talk to people about it. And the reason you can't open up to people is because in your head you feel like there's this larger than life force telling you what you can and can't do. And that is what Dima represents. And I think that the Blurryface album was actually created by Clancy while he was under the control of Dima. And that's why the Blurryface character interferes with the actual songs so much. You hear Tyler talk about his insecurities and talk down on himself, and Blurryface will talk down on Tyler. It really creates this idea that there's another force at play telling Tyler or Clancy what to do. But of course, by the end of the album, we know in songs like Not Today and Goner, Tyler actually fights back against Blurryface, and in turn is fighting against Dima's control over the album and his work. But because of this rebelling that Clancy or Tyler does, he's actually sent into a cell at the top of the tower where he's to remain silent, and that's where the hiatus begins. And pretty much what they're doing is they're creating an entire storyline that connects all the way back to Heathens. So yeah, I actually want to propose this idea that Heathens actually heavily connects to this whole entire storyline. As a matter of fact, I think that Heathens actually takes place just before and completely documents the entire breakout process. So of course, the first obvious connection we can make is that fucking Tyler is wearing a goddamn jumpsuit. But of course, that's like one of the most surface level comparisons you can make. But of course, we're gonna go a little bit deeper than that. Obviously, the jumpsuit is orange, which is halfway between red, the color of Blurryface, and yellow, the color of Trench. And also I noticed that Josh being Clancy's best friend seems to be kind of one of the main motivators for him starting the rebellion. As weird as this scene is, him going past the cell with that yellow lit stage might really kind of represent that idea that he's inspired Clancy to go out and start this rebellion. Clancy then follows Josh to the center of the prison and then removes his jumpsuit to reveal a yellow jacket. I mean, if that's not the biggest connection we can make so far, I mean, what isn't? I know, it might be a coincidence, but it really shows, especially since the prisoners all leave their cells, they're inspired by the color yellow to actually start this rebellion, the yellow being the color of the rebellion itself. And then they bloody jam out for a bit, everyone's having a good time, but then by the end of the video, we notice that everyone is gone from the prison. The only one left, and the only one that remains, is Clancy. Now you may be thinking, wow, Jim, those are some cute little theories there. Well done, buddy. Well done. Well, hold the fuck up. Nico and the Niners, the new song Nico and the Niners actually just straight up references everything that happens in the Heathens music video, just straight up. Let me explain. Force a sponsor. I mean, they've got all those random fucking clips from Suicide Squad, the greatest movie of all time. They completely force that sponsor into the actual music video itself to make money or do whatever they need to do to make the escape. Start a concert, a complete diversion. They start a concert in the middle of the prison and they create a fucking diversion. Start a mob. All the prisoners come out of their cells and form a mob and they break out of the prison. Now, this is the biggest one of all. This is the one that sold it for me. We'll win, but not everyone will get out. Everyone at the end of the music video gets out of the prison except for one. Clancy. Clancy's the one that doesn't get out. Now, let's talk about Heavy Dirty Soul. So Heavy Dirty Soul takes place quite a while after the events of Heathens. So since the rebellion has escaped Dima, Dima sends out Clancy, who is in a car that is out of his control. This is basically Dima's plan to lure the rebellion so that they could capture them. But the rebellion has their own plan, and what they've done is they sent out Josh in his new lovely yellow rebellion hair as their own bait to lure Dima into a place where they can corner them and free Clancy. But of course, as we know, when the music video plays out, the car passes Josh multiple times, threatening to kill him, but then eventually Clancy takes control, destroying the car, and the video ends there. But as we know, this music video actually does link up with the jumpsuit music video canonically. As Clancy opens the boot, he takes out his rebel clothes and heads east to where the rebellion is located. Also, I have no idea where Josh went. Like, Josh is just gone suddenly, so I don't know, just look over that small detail there. So the music video for Jumpsuit takes place again a little while after the events of Heavy Dirty Soul. Clancy has traveled east for months and months to find the rebellion, and now he's finally here. He's at the Trench. But of course only to be swiftly followed by one of the 9 bishops, Nico, or as we and Clancy have known him as before, Blurryface. And the reason he's called Blurryface is simply because he's got that weird fucking covering on his face and it looks like a blurry face. Yep, that's how deep that goes, guys. And the reason that Clancy seems to focus on this bishop called Nico is because Nico seems to be the embodiment of Clancy's biggest fears and anxieties, and this is used to lure him into a trance and take him back to Dima. But that's of course before he gets distracted by some flowers and the rebellion throw petals and stuff. Because apparently, yeah, the bishops don't like yellow, and this is like a thing, like they apparently don't like a specific hue of yellow. This is a really weird universe, but whatever, it's fine, it's fine. One small detail in this video that actually kind of goes unnoticed is that when Clancy is actually under the spell of Nico, his whole neck goes completely black. So, does that not link up to the whole idea that Blurryface was written while he was under the control of Dima? Makes sense, right? He's got the black neck, and then when the rebellion throw their petals down, it fades back out, he's back out of the trance, he's been saved, he's pulled back out of it. Then he tries to escape, and then he falls over, and then he gets captured again, and it's a little bit anticlimactic there. But Josh is there. Josh is looking over him, and he's not doing a whole lot, and everyone's kind of fucked off, and that's about it. And that's where the video ends. Yeah, cool. We don't know what happens next. We'll find out. Stay tuned, everyone. So that's about all we know so far. If there's anything you think I missed, let me know in the comments. We'll talk about it. Let's discuss this a little bit more. I guess we probably won't know much more until the album actually releases, or if there so happens to be a music video in the next 2 months or so. And you fucking bet I'll make a video about it, probably, maybe, who knows. My channel's pretty inconsistent. The last video I posted was a short film, and the time before that was like a video about conspiracy theorists. I guess this kind of is a conspiracy theory video. Fuck. And then the time before that, I did a video essay on Riverdale, of all things. I have no consistency here, so subscribe if you're into that kind of thing, I guess. Bye.